and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. Hi, hello. Today we are here to tell you guys some of my weirdest Uber stories as of late. And there's a reason I've been riding Uber so much lately. Basically, I just got done kind of taking what I would consider my summer break, which I have never done in my adult life, but I felt like I needed it a lot because I've been go for so long, it feels. My life has just been really crazy. So many new and exciting and good and positive things have been happening. Some hard things have been happening, but I just needed a minute to breathe and to step back from everything, YouTube, like real life problems, everything, responsibilities, the whole 9 yards. And I just needed to kind of take a minute and have some fun. The timing was perfect because a lot of my friends were in town, i.e. LA. I can't believe that's like in town now because I used to be in town for events, but now I live here. But a lot of my friends were in town for VidCon. I have a very kind of small group of friends, but we're pretty tightly knit, and I wanted to hang out with them as much as possible because I only see them a few times a year. So my friends, Brittany, Andrew, and Taylor were all here, and then my other friends live in LA, so I get to see them sometimes. Annie has been like the tiniest thing I've ever had in my whole life. I mean, obviously up until now. And now with this little guy in the house, she's just like, I must resume my place as the tiniest puppy there is. I'm still really adjusting to driving in LA. Also, the AC is currently out in my car. And so I was taking Uber a lot just because, especially we were hanging out so late at night. I didn't want to have to think about like how I was gonna get home, whatever. So I was taking Uber a lot. And I think it's just because like I was taking it so back to back to back. Like, of course, weird experiences were bound to happen eventually. Because I was taking so many Ubers, of course, like something weird was gonna happen. There are some weird Lyft stories that I've had. I've gotten into some weird cabs before. Uber is not the worst thing in the world. I actually really love Uber, but I've had some really strange experiences lately that I've been tweeting about and talking about, so I just thought I would kind of recount all of them for you now. Okay, so the one that this video is named after is pretty bizarre, and I don't remember how long ago this was because it just feels like the last 3 weeks have been a total blur. But essentially, I had this Uber who seemed totally freaking normal when I got in. I ordered my Uber, I got into the car. I was actually going home after like a really long event or something. I had been out a lot of the day. And so I was pretty tired, pretty out of it. So I get into the car, the guy seems totally normal, totally legit. Everything's cool. I don't know how else to say that because I just can't explain to you, like, he did not have an earpiece in, there was nothing playing in the car, nothing on the radio, there was no like music coming from anywhere, there was, I don't know, you guys, it was so weird because this guy just started maniacally laughing. And in hindsight, I wish I had taken a video for proof because I have video proof and like photo proof of some of these, but this one, I wish I had just recorded it because it was like chilling, you guys. The way he was laughing was like the way I would imagine like a serial killer to laugh, or like someone who gets off on doing really terrible things to people. Like, it was literally a Disney villain. Like, I want to do it, but you guys are gonna laugh. Like, I'm not joking, you guys. That is how this dude was laughing. And he would start laughing like that, then stop for about 10 seconds, then start laughing again. And I'm talking for a 10-minute car drive. And I was so scared, literally petrified in my seat. Thought I was going to die in that moment, that all I was doing was just texting people like, I'm in a really weird Uber, here's a license plate number, here's my receipt, like, find me if I die. I didn't know what to say just because, like, how can I ask like what's so funny? I don't know what's so funny. I don't want to know what is so funny. I don't know what he was laughing at. I don't want the knowledge and the burden on me of knowing what he's laughing at, because it wasn't just like, you know how sometimes you'll think of something and you'll kind of like laugh a little bit? This was like laughing a little bit for 10 minutes straight. Literally like he was possessed or something. It was so creepy, and he never made eye contact with me. He was just staring out at the road, just like laughing. And it was weird. It was really weird, you guys. And in the moments that he wasn't laughing, he wasn't even smiling. His face, he would just like stop laughing and be like, ah. So that one was weird, but of course they got weirder as the weeks went on. I'm literally just gonna go through the list as I remember them. One guy literally tried to sell me his mixtape in the car. It's because I talked about I do social media for a living. Anytime anyone asks what I do for a living and like Ubers and tries to make small talk, I always say I work in social media. And when they ask me to clarify, I explain that I sometimes work with brands in social media if they need promotion, which is a small part of my job, but the bigger part, of course, is making content. The minute you say that you're a YouTuber, people want a shout out or they want to ask all these questions like, hey, I want to do that. And 99% of the time, I just want to get from A to B and like look at my phone and not talk about it, you know? Not that I mind like ever, you know, if you guys ever ask me for advice online or if you come up to me in person and ask, that's totally cool. It's just like when I'm in a car or something and I don't know the person, you know? So I talk about working in social media and immediately this guy is like on it. He looks like a young dude, like in his like early mid 20s, and starts talking about how he's making music and he wants to know how to boost his social and will I listen to his mixtape, like all of these things, like literally tries to hand me a CD of his mixtape as I'm walking out the door. And I wonder if he's just doing that to everyone or if he has copies laying around for people he thinks are important. Obviously it's LA, so there might be people here and there who could help you out, and probably like some producers or something that may have gotten into his car. I really don't know, but yeah, he tried to give it to me. I said no, that I couldn't help him, and I just left because I felt very awkward. Now, what you're gonna learn from the rest of these Uber stories is I very rarely say no to anyone. I am not big on confrontation. I, of course, do it when the time is necessary. Like, I will confront people, I will talk to people, whatever. You upset me, you hurt me, I will speak to you, but if it is like unnecessary, if I can get away with not doing it, especially with strangers, you guys, I will avoid it like the plague. And this was very true for this one guy that I had. Literally left my friend's place at like 3 in the morning. We had stayed up all night playing games, hanging out, talking about their haunted painting in their Airbnb. Now this guy I have video proof of, and I did go ahead and record it. I did not record him. I wanted to keep his identity protected and all of that, but I recorded myself to send to my friends. And it was kind of me repeating something that he said. So I get into his car and he immediately starts asking what I do, but as he's talking to me, he turns around in the driver's seat and faces me to talk directly to me. That is not safe. It's 3 in the morning in Los Angeles. It is dark outside and you're not even watching the road. Like, no thank you. Like, he keeps turning around and complimenting me, which is very nice. Like, thank you, that's sweet. One of the funniest things that he did was he turned around and he asked me a question. It was something like, how did you move to LA? Like something like that, very generic, whatever. And he asks me this question, then cuts me off mid-sentence, is like, I'm so sorry, but I just have to say that you have such beautiful eyes. And like is turning around, like has his hand on the steering wheel, turns around to look at me in the backseat as he's saying this. And I'm just like, but you shouldn't be noticing my eyes. You should be noticing the road probably. It didn't help that this was like a Friday night and there was a person in front of us just swerving in and out of the road. So I was pretty creeped out. I kind of just stopped talking and started giving really short answers because I didn't want to just say like, hey, watch the road, which I should have. This is why I'll die at a young age. But yeah, I didn't want to say anything. So I kind of just stopped responding, and he kept like trying to give me compliments, which again is sweet, but like I wasn't having it. I don't, you know, thank you very much. I don't ever mind that. And I think that it's very nice, but like, no thanks, not right now. You know, there's a time and a place. I don't really remember, to be perfectly frank with you, what led up to this point, but he starts talking about like crazy drivers, and somehow we get on the topic of he had these 2 girls in his car and how they must have thought he was a gang banger or something. And this is literally when I was on my phone, he said the term gangbanger, and I started recording, and I'm gonna insert the footage right now.
Some kind of gangbanger.
Yeah, it was too. You know, maybe it was her first time in America and she doesn't know. I used to have this Japanese girlfriend and things that she would tell me just blow my mind.
You can see at that point, I was pretty intrigued into his story then. Like, I wanted to know what he was going to say from there, and he was indeed watching the road at that point. So he was a pretty strange dude. I got home safe and sound, and I 100% snitched on him for not watching the road because he is going to kill someone doing that. Sorry, dude. I hope you're still driving for Uber, and I hope you're being safe now. So literally the next day, I went back to hang out with my friends because again, everyone's still in town, and we decided we're going to go to In-N-Out. And at In-N-Out, it was just a total freaking fiasco. There was like a biker gang who were like revving up their motorcycles in the parking lot because they thought it was super duper cool. Spoiler alert, it's not really that cool. It was just loud and obnoxious, and so we had eaten our food and we were literally like, get us out of here. So my friend Matt calls an Uber, and he's like taking care of the whole thing. Whenever we travel anywhere as a group, we have to get an Uber XL because there's like 7 of us. So Matt calls the Uber, and the Uber calls him, and he's like, hey, where are you? The Uber. And Matt's like, I'm in the parking lot of the In-N-Out. And the guy on the phone says, Burger King? There's not a Burger King around, by the way. We checked. There's not a Burger King nearby. We are at the In-N-Out. So Matt says, no, like my location is on the app. Like you can check the app. That's where I am. And the guy was still like 7 minutes away. So he's like, oh, okay. Long story short, we all get in the car and he seems like a perfectly normal, chill dude, and we start playing music. We request a station and he plays it. Like I said, my friends and I don't see each other all that often, so when we do see each other, it's a lot of talking, it's a lot of telling each other stories. At one point, Matt was going to show us all something on his phone, and so he asks the driver, hey, can you turn down the music a little bit? And the driver says, oh, okay, and he turns it up. And Matt says, oh, no, turn it down. And the driver says, oh, okay, and turns it up until it's like blaring so loud. And I start laughing because I just think this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. This driver literally, like, there is no language barrier. He speaks perfect English, understands everything that we're saying. Matt tells him to turn down the music, he turns it up, and Matt's like, no, down, like even does the motion, like down. And he's like, oh, okay, I got you. Like, it was so funny, you guys. I felt like I was going to cry laughing. And the guy in front was just like, he didn't even flinch. One of our friends, Zach, is in the front seat, so he asks the driver, hey, can I turn this down? And the driver literally throws up his hands like this. He's like, I don't know. It was really funny, and Zach turned it down and I had to like stop laughing and get myself together. Nothing else happened during that one. I just thought it was a funny Uber ride, and since I've had so many strange ones back to back, it seems, I thought I'd share that one too. I had this one guy try to hang out with me after our Uber ride. Again, I made small talk with him. He was telling me about how he was, you know, back in touch with his kids, and this guy seemed like he had had a really hard life and that he had turned it around, and how he was in touch with his kids again and in touch with his former like partner or whatever. And again, he's doing the thing. I don't know, like, it's not a big deal, but he keeps doing the thing again where it's like every 5 minutes he's telling me that I'm very pretty. Driving for Uber isn't so bad when sometimes you have pretty girls in your back seat. At one point he asks how old I am, and I tell him that I'm 24 because I just turned 24, which is weird. And he's like, you literally look 18. And I'm just like, I don't think I look 18, like at all, number one. But yeah, like keeps doing things like that. So I get uncomfortable kind of quickly and just sort of like get quiet. That's kind of like my go-to in that situation, is I don't like to tell anyone anything because, again, like, I don't know, it's an awkward situation, especially when someone's doing that when you're in their car. So I kind of just stop like making small talk. I get on my phone, whatever. I actually wound up making a fake call in this situation. I was talking to my manager, Jake. So Jake, we had a fake conversation about VidCon Antarctica, if you're wondering. And the guy kind of out of nowhere is like, so what are you doing tonight? And I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go hang out with my friends. I don't know, we might play some games. We're just gonna watch some movies. Like, that's all we do, is we just hang out. We go to one person's place and we just hang out all night. And he's like, oh, well, you know, I'm not really doing anything tonight. And mind you, he's complimented me a lot at this point, like keeps like making it very known that he's like into me, and I've kind of just sort of brushed it off. I've been sly, but I also haven't been like giggly and like, oh, you're cute too. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't done anything like that. At first, like the first 3 times he complimented me and said something nice, I was like, thank you. And then he kept going, and I kind of just stopped responding because I didn't want him to think I was like egging it on or like into it or anything. So anyways, yeah. So he's saying like he doesn't have any Friday plans, and I was like, oh, well, I mean, you know, driving at least makes you money, like at least you have that. And this dude literally says to me, well, I could hang out with you guys. Like, we're pals. Like, he's just part of the team. And I kind of like laughed because I thought he was kidding. And then I looked in the rearview mirror and he was like making eye contact with me. Like, he was serious. So I just said, oh no, we're probably gonna keep it pretty low key, but I hope you have a nice Friday. And luckily right after that, he dropped me off, so I didn't have to like endure it any longer. You guys, it was pretty weird, and those are just some of the strange Uber experiences I've had as of late. I could probably keep talking for hours. One guy, I got into his car and he had a passenger literally doing his accounting for him in the passenger seat. It was like, I got into the car. Sometimes people have passengers and I almost never say anything. I almost never report it because I understand like you have a life, and I don't know, it really doesn't bother me, so I don't usually say anything. But he had a passenger in his car, the air conditioning didn't work. I live in LA, so it's pretty warm right now. And this girl was in his passenger seat, like talking to him about his finances and stuff, and like, well, we can cut spending here, and we can save money here, and you can have this tax deductible. literally doing his accounting for him right next to him. That one was more just funny to me than anything. And then I think the last one that I can tell right now was very recent. I had just gone to Universal City Walk to go get some dinner and just hang out with a friend of mine. We were originally going to go to Universal, but we just got there a little bit too late to make it worth the, you know, not budget, but like make it worth the ticket and all of that. We had just gone to go get some dinner and we got into an Uber and drove back, and the person picking us up had a new car instead of a license plate number. If you've used Uber a lot, when you kind of do the thing on the app and you call the car, it always tells you a license plate number so that you can make sure that the car that you get into is the correct one. Well, this guy had a certain car. It was like Ford Sport, I really don't know, but instead he showed up in some sort of Hyundai, and it was a new car, so I couldn't tell the license plate number. So this car pulls up, and my friend and I are just standing there like waiting for our Uber, and the guy who had pulled up in this white Hyundai honks on his horn, and I look over, there's no Uber sticker or anything, so I think, you know, he's not talking to me, number one. Number two, that's not my Uber. He rolls down the window and he's like, hey, I'm here for Loey. I checked the app and he was picking me up, so I don't know why he was picking me up in a different car. But anyways, we got in, everything was fine. And this guy was driving like a maniac, you guys. I was like literally flying out of my seat. He was taking corners so hard, like I was physically like nauseous when I got out. Whatever, you know what, drive like a speed demon. If I get from A to B, 99% of the time I'm cool. But then he starts texting and driving while driving so like recklessly, you know what I mean? And that's like number one, against the law. Very dangerous, very, very silly to do. Like that's just the dumbest thing that you can do and risk someone's life over. Like playing on your phone and being distracted while you drive is so stupid. So he starts texting and driving, and I literally took a photo to send to Uber. And he 100% caught me taking the photo. I wanted to make it very obvious I was documenting it because I left the sound on. So I literally took the photo. He immediately put down his phone, didn't say anything for the rest of the drive, didn't say anything when I got out of the car. And then the second I got out of the car, I one-starred him and started writing my review to obviously report him for texting and driving and to submit like the proof and all of that, just so like he doesn't hurt somebody, you know what I mean? And as I one-star him, literally he's driving away, I one-star, and he stops driving and literally parks outside of my apartment for like the next 5 minutes. And it was really, really creepy. By the way, Uber did not care. They like refunded me for the ride, but they didn't want like the photo evidence because I straight up told them there was no place to like submit it on the app. But I was like, I have photo proof of this guy like texting and driving, like he's going to kill somebody. And they were just like, sorry this happened, here's a refund, like let us know if we can do anything else. So it really sucks, and like people like that, I'm telling you guys, that's why Uber gets such a bad rap sometimes. All of these people are why Uber gets such a bad rap sometimes. Some of these were funny, some of them were really weird, but I hope you guys just enjoyed the story in general. It's really late actually. I'm gonna go snug this little guy. I may not have explained this situation yet. I actually do not know what this situation is. I tried to catch this guy for a week straight. He was out on the streets, like near my apartment, and he was just running around, and now he's here and he's safe and dry, and he just got vaccinations. So I'll tell you guys that story in the future if you want it, but if you like story times like this, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love you all so much, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.